Happy New Year! What is happening, everybody? Just want to send a quick little message and wish everybody an amazing New Year. And it's important. It's important that we recognize the new year and we recognize our goals, our aspirations, who we are, who we're trying to be, where we are, and where we're trying to be, right? And being able to close the gap on those. So I wanted to send a quick little message to give you some love and also make sure that I really just shared my way of starting my New Year's, right? Because, how we're really showing up in any new year is important to, really what we're able to really accomplish and how we're really trying to be. So this is what I typically do for my New Year's, and it's an important process that I've been able to do with a lot of success, and hopefully you'll see value in that. So first of all, when you show up to your year, it's important to actually, before you get into what you're trying to create, just go backwards and look at, how you actually did your 2017. So how did 2017 go for you? And so what I would do is, and what I typically do is I go through my photos. And I don't spend all kinds of time like going through each photo, but I just start with the date of 2017, so January, and I just start going through those because that'll show you, first of all, what you actually did. And the reason I do this is because I always get more juice and celebrate my year before I actually go into my following year, okay? So this is really important. We have to first really get excited about the life that we just lived. And so I forget, like most of us, I forget, like, what did I actually do January 2017? What did I do February 2017? And so I'll go through and I'll grab just some triggers in my mind from these photos or events that I did, and I'll write them down and I'll put them in my notes section of my computer that gets backed up, or my phone. And so I'll become really, really grateful. Be like, oh my God, I traveled to this place, or I remember this magic moment. So what you're trying to do is immediately just go into your magic moments of 2017, and you list out all the incredible things and moments that you experienced in 2017. I usually get them from my photos. You can get them from Facebook, obviously, or wherever your platform of choice is. And you start there. You start with gratitude. You start with state. You start with like being really, really thankful for how your year actually went. Now, from there, once you have all of that, which that is one of the most important pieces, I just want to say, once you start from there, then it's a lot easier to then start creating, okay, what is my plan going forward for this year? And typically what I do, once you have that, it's like, okay, well, I have some goals, right? I have some goals. I had some plans last year. And if you did set an intentful, goal list for 2017, where did you end up, right? So where did you actually end up? Why and why not did you end up where you wanted to be? Why and why not? So it's really important to understand very quickly, is there things that went really well? And is there things that maybe didn't go so well? And now we have an opportunity for this new year to really understand that piece. And I'll give you an example on that. So if you find out, okay, well, I really wanted to say, have a better workout routine. Is there something that I could have done a little bit differently? So for me, example, one of my biggest wins was being able to really get into some really good shape, was hiring a coach and having my trainer be there with me and go through all my stuff and get me past that critical space that I needed to be, so I could actually show up, right? Because everyone's busy. I'm busy. Before I was like, I don't have time for this. But when you hire somebody that you respect and you're spending money, you show up differently. So that was a big thing for me this year. But you want to look at really where are you at in your goals, and what is some of these wisdom nuggets that you can pick up and lead into this year. So state is such an important thing. So when you're doing this, when you're actually planning this year, and I want to push really, really hard and on you as far as letting you know that this is the critical piece of the year. You have to plan. You have to plan your goals. You have to plan what you want. You have to set it in stone. This is such an important piece that a lot of people that get excited about their new year do not do. So it's really important to understand that. Now, when you're doing that, you have to get into state. And so that's why looking at these pictures, looking at how you did last year is important. Now, I have music wherever I go, especially when I'm planning my 2018. I want to make sure that I have music going because it's really important to get in state. So music is going. I'm usually working out or dancing for maybe like 5 minutes straight, and then it gets me in a good state, and then I'll be like, okay, what do I really want right now? And I ask certain questions like that. What do I really want? Who do I really want to be? And I'll usually look at my previous year to get examples from, and then I'll go into those questions so I can make sure that I'm actually asking the right questions. Okay? And typically what it is for me, what I do is once I get sort of, the things that I want to sort of attract in my life, how I want to be, right? I'll actually name myself. I'll give myself identities. And this is a powerful piece about planning your year, because really what it is it's how you want to be and how you want to show up. And the way to really get good at that is to give yourself identities. And just like a pet, just like a dog, you call that identity out so that person shows up. So for me, I have the suave Chad, right? The person that is just like jumping in and showing up in a way that's charismatic, that's fun, that's funny. I've got the sexy Chad, right? The romantic Chad. That shows up a certain way, right, for that special person. I have the business Chad, right? I have the poignant Chad, the Chad that's creative, that's on point. So I have all these different identities, and you want to name them. You want to actually give them names, and sometimes you can put theme songs to them. So just like your favorite athlete that comes out, or your favorite performer that comes out to certain tracks, like we can actually use this to our advantage so we can show up that way. I mean, we all have dynamic parts of ourselves and superhero parts of ourselves. So this might sound a little cliche or funny to some people, but it is such a powerful thing to do. And then when you actually have these identities, you can set yourself up to win. So using net time, right? When I plan out my year and I have these identities, I have these things that I want to accomplish, I have these trips that I want to take. It's categories of your life. So the easiest way to do it is to look at categories of your life. So love and relationships, how do you want to be? Now, it's better to actually, instead of having a specific, I want to have, this person in my life or whatever, sometimes it's easier to actually to put in there, and this is true for working out. Like, yes, maybe you want to lose 20 pounds or gain 20 pounds of muscle, but it's actually easier to put a goal on the actual thing that you need to do to get to that place. Meaning, if I want to gain 20 pounds of muscle, I need to be at the gym 3 to 5 times a week, and I need to have a trainer. So it's easier to make that my goal than it is the other part. So we don't lose ourselves in that journey, if that makes sense. So we go into the parts of our categories of our life. So love and relationships, right? Craft and cash flow. You're going into being able to grow, right? And learn, contribution and meaning. And so figure out, what are your life categories? What has an emotional charge to you when you say something? There's no right or wrong answer, but you want to look at your life in categories. So when you're making your goals and you're making your lists of things, they fall into those categories, because financial goals are just a category of your life, right? Love and relationships, category of your life. A lot of people go into their year and they plan things that are, financially driven, which is okay. But like, there's so much more to life than just making a lot of money, right? There's so much more to life than waking up and just having one thing to do. Like, we are multifaceted, and, we have lots of needs as human beings. And so I want to make sure that you don't restrict yourself to one thing, buying a beautiful house or nice car or whatever, but there's other things, right? And so I really urge you to figure out what your categories are, and go from a place of, okay, there might be one thing that I want, but there's a specific way that I have to show up in order to get that thing. And so specifically, again, you break down that thing. So if I want a nice house It means that I'm making a certain amount of money, and I'm looking at certain areas, and I'm spending a certain amount of time doing those things to attract that thing, okay? And so you list out those categories, and then typically what I do, and a lot of you have seen this with me, is I have my vision board, and maybe I can, if I remember, I'm literally moving into a new place. I got to figure out where this vision board is in my spot, but usually I have it in my room somewhere. And a vision board, you put a picture to that thing that you're creating, and you can go on Google, Shutterstock if you want, Google Images or Shutterstock. And if it's a person that you want to be with, then you find that spot that makes you feel that way. If it's something that you're creating, you find a picture that makes you feel that way. So the best thing that I can describe, and when you actually get your list down of, say, the top 5 things that you want to accomplish and be for 2018, it is a specific thing. It is a few things to get you to that thing, and it's a picture, right? It's an actual picture that you can put together like your vision board with that specificity of that makes you feel a resonance of attracting that. And what I do on top of that, I actually create music. This is a really powerful tactic. So what I'll do is I listen to SoundCloud. I have like 60-minute, say, tracks that I'll work to, and then I'll listen to and I really like. And what I'll do is I'll find my track on, I'll just type it in like MP3 free, like the name of the track. I'll find it on Google, I'll drag it into GarageBand, and I will listen to the music, and in the background, I will start saying all the things that I want to attract. And I will put that just a little bit lower than my music, so it's like subliminally reprogramming me. And it's so funny because I get to a point where I don't even hear the words that I'm saying. I love the music, so I'm listening to the music. And it's really cool because I can listen to, say I hear that song somewhere, I can literally start saying the words to the things that I'm attracting because it's so programmed in my head. So again, these don't take that long to do, but when you do it, it's powerful. Because what do? I put it on my phone and I listen to those tracks, which are basically my whole vision board dubbed into my favorite music, when I take a shower, when I go to the gym, when I'm driving, when I'm walking, my morning routine, when I need a pick-me-up. I use this as tools in my toolkit to really get myself going and getting excited and just reprogramming myself. This is how you get your goals. This is how you create the life that you want. It takes this type of grit initially to put together these systems, and then literally all we're doing is we're playing a programming game. We're reprogramming and programming our own minds, and we're using that creation mode to actually start creating and make it feel good. I've done it in my life. I've seen it happen to a lot of people I know. It is one of the most powerful things. Once you have that, and I know this sounds like a lot. People are like, oh, Chad, this is too much. I'm not that kind of a person, but you are. If you're watching this video, if you know me and what I'm about, then you know that it's important to actually, and you care about creating this type of life for yourself. It's really not that hard. I don't spend that much time on it, but I spend enough time so I can use it throughout the year in order to attract the things that I want. Once you have that set up, the next thing is to get some type of accountability, some type of coach. Now, if coach costs money, then you find a friend. And if you don't have a friend that has goals, then you need to find a friend that has goals, because that is literally the most important part of you attracting anything, is finding like-minded people, because you do become, and I know you've heard this a million times, you become the sum of the people you hang out with. So it's like one of the most important things is to hang around with the right people and to find somebody that you can align with and share these goals together, because you're going to want them to be like, well, I don't know about this. Maybe you should do this, or hey, how's it going? You want them to support you in this. So once you have all these things together, then I go ahead for my 2018. And by the way, I have all my closest friends doing this together with me and holding me accountable. And we create a mastermind group from this. And then we check in every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. How are we doing? Can we support each other? And so you have this initial sort of inertia, and then you have a follow through with your people, making sure that they're checking in on you, you're checking in on them. And what does it do? It just carries on throughout the year. and then I do quarterly reviews.